Hey there, and welcome to Coffee with Chris and Meg, where we talk about life and love from a practical, biblical, and fun perspective.
And today we are talking about individualism in marriage.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Uh-huh.
Is it not okay?
Right.
Does it fight our marriage? Does it help our marriage? We're going to answer that and more on today's show. But before we get into that, two important things here.
My goodness, yes.
Like, what are you drinking? What's in that coffee cup today?
Well, if you go to our church at all, cccsterling.org in Sterling Heights, Michigan, we are drinking the coffee that we serve on Sundays.
And it's good.
It's a favorite. It's a fan favorite. So this is Great Lakes Coffee and the Motor City Blend. Represent Detroit. It is an organic cup of coffee.
It's so good.
It's super good.
You're not going to get Folgers here at this church.
Oh, don't hate on Folgers.
The best part of
it.
waking up is not Folgers in a cup. Just so we know, we are drinking good coffee and we serve some good coffee. So Meg, let's jump in.
Yeah.
Let's talk individualism in marriage. Now, there can definitely be some downfalls to this. When we say individualism, what are we saying? Like, what is the downfall to that?
Well, I think what we're not saying is that you should not retain your own like autonomy in marriage, right? Like you're responsible for yourself. You bring yourself to the table. Like we're going to get into that, right?
Sure.
Like becoming a whole person. You're not like saying, I'm losing everything I am inside of you. But what we are saying, or what did you ask me?
What's the downside?
Okay.
Like, what are some examples
I got so excited about my coffee.
Unhealthy individualism?
You know, one time we were talking to a couple and I just heard them talking back and forth, and they asked, instead of like asking us, they asked their spouse, what are you doing this weekend?
Well, I don't have many plans. What are you doing? Yeah, that's weird,
I was blown
right?
away.
It's like,
yeah.
Well, what are we doing?
Right.
Do you want to make plans apart from me? Like, I just can't imagine a scenario where we're just thinking, oh, I'm going to do my thing and you're going to do your thing.
Right. And I think that's what we're talking about is living two lives under the same roof.
Not that you couldn't choose to say, hey, Saturday, I'm going to go this way, you're going to go that way. That's fine.
Different
but when
story.
It's just like, hey, what are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? What are you having for dinner? Well,
right.
What are you having for dinner?
Are we having anything for dinner?
Aren't we one? Having separate accounts, like checking accounts, not keeping the money together. Like, why?
Yes.
Why aren't we doing that?
That begs a deeper question.
Doesn't that create individualism and a separateness when we're supposed to be one? I've also heard people talk about, oh, that's his debt.
Ooh.
They're married. He's got a credit card. He's got a student loan.
And he just has to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right?
No. We've got debt. We've got student loans.
Yeah.
Like, we got to change some of this language, because if you're not careful, we're not becoming the one flesh that God called us to be when he called couples to get married.
Yeah, and I think those are some like really overt things, but I think there's a subtle slip, right, that can come in that we just both start living a little separately.
What about sitting in your bed, scrolling with different phones?
You know, that's where I was going, for sure.
I mean, is this okay?
Let's be real, right? Let's talk about this. Do you and I ever scroll on our phones separately?
Of course we do.
Yes,
Sitting
we
on
do.
the same couch.
Right.
And we're scrolling through.
And we're sending each other reels.
We definitely do that. It can create distance, though, if you do it too much.
If you do it too much, and we've talked to couples that are struggling with intimacy a lot of times, and we talk to them about like their nighttime routine, and they're like, well, we both get in bed with our iPads and our headphones and we're scrolling. And I'm like, well, I can help you with the problem.
Yeah, maybe not bring them into bed.
Right. Have a little bit of a boundary there.
I'm not telling you what you can and cannot do.
You are the boss of your life.
You definitely are. Maybe you're watching this right now and your spouse is next to you and you have your headphones in. We'll take those out.
Nudge them.
Watch it together.
Watch them together.
Be even great. But what else? Like, I think a lot of times we can function as really good partners in life or roommates. Like, we live under the same roof. If you have kids, it's like you're on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting them here. I'm bringing them over here. Plan meals together. You can set up. I'm paying the bills. You're vacuuming over here, and you got these roles and responsibilities. But it can still you can still kind of slip into this roommate mode.
Roommate mode. Yep. Business partner mode. But the connection, the intimacy, that oneness, that, man, I got married so we could do this adventure together.
Right.
It's such a slow fade, right? It's so subtle.
So there's this tension, though. There's this tension between, I am an individual.
Correct.
I still want to do some healthy individual things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes we get too separate, and then we start to lose the romance, the feelings, the connection that we have. So what are some healthy, if we went through some of the things that are negative
For sure.
about kind of individualism, what are some things that are healthy?
Well, I think hobbies are a one thing that can really give you that healthy sense of individualism. Like, most likely you married your opposite. We found that to be true in marriage. We found that to be true in a lot of people that we talk to.
Megan doesn't golf. I golf.
This does not golf, you guys. I've tried.
You've tried.
I've tried. And I do a mean putt-putt course, man. I can putt-putt with the best of them.
You definitely can. But swinging and actually making contact with the ball,
no,
it's a tough process.
There's a lot of divots in my. Is that what it's called when you take the and then I have to repair the grass? It's not good.
I'll never forget, my grandpa retired, and he said to my grandma, "If you ever want to see me, you better learn to play golf, sweetie."
Oh. Well, that's
I don't know if that's healthy individualism or not. I know my grandma's watching this. Hi,
Grandma. We
Miss
might
Pops.
not give that advice, but it worked for them. They were married for a good long time.
But you have your own personal dreams too.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Some things that are personal to you. You have some, we think we should have some as a couple.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But you have your own personal dreams and hopes and desires.
Yeah, I think going after those is part of what attracted you to your spouse in the first place, right? You saw them and you're like, man, they are an example, right? Like, man, I love the way that they sing or they paint or that they are this athlete, and so many times we get married and we lose that part of ourselves that really made us feel like ourselves, that really made us come alive. And so by preserving some of that, we're still becoming that whole person. I think personal growth, it goes into that in a big way.
I love that about you, is that you don't try to change me.
Correct.
But you spend a lot of time working on you. And we've gotten to the point in marriage where we're not trying to change each other, but we're working on us. And we have goals to become better versions. We read, we watch videos. We're trying to always better ourselves or improve. And what attracted me to you was this competence about you, this drive that you have, that you do dream, that you do have hobbies, that you do have friends. I think that's another one, like healthy individualistic friends. You have your girlfriends. I have guy friends. It's nice to be able to have that connection, that community, to go our separate ways, but also hang out together.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? And I think that there's something really, friendships in adulthood can be hard.
Yes.
Let's be honest, right? They come very naturally to most, not all, but when you're younger and you are in proximity to people all the time through school. But as we grow up, our lives do get more, individualized. And so pursuing those friendships can be a challenge, but man, and I say that to say that we did that wrong for a whole lot of years. I can tell the difference in my soul, honestly, when I have really connected with friends and when I haven't. And I know that I'm a much better spouse to you because I find, I don't know if you notice this, but I'm way less needy. When I have good girlfriend conversations, like I'm talking to them about the things in my heart.
You're able to get all those words out.
Right.
With women who have patience for more of that. You know what I mean? So you get them all out there.
Right. And that's not to say we're withholding from each other at all, but it's the healthy balance, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I just think individually in our marriages, we have to be responsible for ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And work on ourselves and have a good emotional IQ or EQ, EQ. So that we can stay connected. So there are some things that are healthy that to have in your marriage individually, but we also don't want to slip away from, we're living completely separate lives.
Absolutely.
Under one roof.
Yeah.
which segues right perfectly into our scripture of the day.
Yes.
Our sod, so to speak.
He's really trying to make this catch.
I'm staying with it. Everyone needs to start referring to their scripture of the day as a sod.
Everyone needs to start.
That's right. Sod. What's our sod, Megan?
Okay, as much as it pains me to say this, our sod is Ephesians 3:6. This mystery is that through the gospel, the Gentiles, as heirs together with Israel, members together of one body, and sharers together in the promise in Jesus Christ.
Wow. Once again, we've been in Ephesians the last few videos we've done. We're working our way through Ephesians, and we're trying to find one verse or two verses that really can speak into marriage.
Yeah.
And Paul is really trying to get this idea across in the book of Ephesians. This is like the third time he's mentioned it. He's talking about how we were separate individuals, but Christ brings unity.
Yes.
So if you were a Jew or a Gentile, whatever nationality you were, if you were male or female, whatever you were, in Christ, we have unity. And I think that's perfect. I mean, the Bible says the two become one flesh. And so it's like there's unity. We need to have that unity, that same unity that Christ used to bring all people together. He uses to bring us together too.
And I think that phrase, the two that shall become one flesh, a lot of times we think it's this instant thing, right? Like I say I do, you say I do, we become one. And I really believe that we know physically, in intimacy, there is that oneness, but really that soul of becoming one is a process.
Yes.
I really think that that's a process that the Lord set up that we would be continually pursuing each other through. So what do you think, really practically speaking, what does that oneness look like? I mean, what does it look like for us? What does it look like in a healthy marriage?
And I'll speak to that too. And early in our marriage, we couldn't agree on much because we lived these individual lives.
Yeah.
Then we came together. You're talking about the two becoming one,
sure.
and it doesn't happen overnight. But yeah, like decor.
Our styles were so different.
We didn't agree on that. Now it's like we have the same style.
Almost exactly.
We've grown together. So it is a process, but it takes time, and it's really about learning each other. I think learning habits and living together and being open that your way maybe isn't the only way
it's a
or
way.
the right way.
Right.
A lot of times we can think, no, I think this, my opinion is this, this is right, but you've taught me a few things that, maybe I'm not right. Once in a while.
I didn't say it like that,
once
Chris.
Once or twice I've been wrong in our marriage, but
yes.
But
we'll say that.
You tell me that just because I thought it was right doesn't necessarily mean it's right. There's more than one way.
There's more than one way to do things. Sometimes.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
Skin a cat?
I don't know why they say that.
Why?
I don't want to skin a cat.
You love animals.
I love animals. So don't do that. Another way I think we found to really draw the best out in a marriage is dreaming together. So let's think about this. Something Megan and I just started doing. This is 24 years into marriage.
24 years in.
The first time we've done this, and I think it's a game changer. But at the beginning of the year, we tried to think about all the things we wanted to do together that year.
And let's paint the scene. Like, this was not like, let's go on a retreat. Let's, we had to fit this into our actual lives. So it looked like one Saturday, we're like, let's go get breakfast and talk about this.
Yeah. We had coffee.
Yep.
As we do.
Obviously.
It's our inspiration. but we had coffee, and what we did is we talked about, okay, what are some spiritual goals we have this year? What are we going to do to connect spiritually on our own with the Lord? Because I really believe that your spiritual life, how connected you are to God, will determine how good of a spouse you are.
Ooh, yes.
I really believe that. The number one practical application I could ever give you for this unity in marriage is that if you become a man of God and the wife becomes a woman of God, you will have a healthier marriage.
Yes, without a doubt.
Megan will say this to me in a nice, loving way sometimes. Hey, did you spend any time with the Lord today? Have you read your Bible in a little bit? Have you spent some time in worship? I think you need to go do that a little bit. just say that to me. In other words, I'm harsher when I'm not in the zone. And I could tell with her too a little bit.
Yes, you can. I know that when I'm not really secure in my walk with the Lord, for me, that looks like criticism. Like I get more critical. I get harder on myself. Therefore, I get harder on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt it at times.
Have you? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So I think we do this dream board. We're planning the year.
Yep.
And so the first thing was individual spiritual goals. Like how much time, what are we going to study? How are we going to grow spiritually on our own this year? And how are we going to grow spiritually together?
Yeah, for sure.
What are some things that we are going to do? Are we going to lead a life group together? Are we going to spend time in prayer once a week together? Are we going to do a devotional together? We're going to listen to a podcast. How are we going to connect spiritually on our own and individually? Because this is what this scripture is about. Yeah. Unity comes from Christ. We can't have real unity in marriage without Christ.
Right.
Without his strength, without his power.
Absolutely.
So what did we do next, Meg? What was the next thing that we planned?
At that breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did spiritual.
We did spiritual. And we had categories, right? So then we talked about, okay, financially, what do we want to do this year? What are we saving for? What are we investing into retirement? Just really practically speaking to get us on the page, because financial intimacy, it's a very real thing.
Yes.
So getting on the same page there.
What's our long-term, short-term goals?
Yes.
We want to pay off debt. Is there a trip we want to go on? We were talking about that too. Like how much fun? That was another, like what kind of fun
goals? We like fun goals. Yeah.
What kind of fun do you want to have? Because this is where we find ourselves. It's like for me, Megan's a planner. I'm not. I'm more spontaneous. But I'll want to go on vacation, and then I'm like, okay, I want to go in 2 weeks, and then everything's booked.
And I'm like, cool.
But we started to say, okay, where do we want to go this year? What time of year? How can we do that? Look at it now.
Right.
So that we can start to plan a trip or plan something fun that we can do together.
We also set marriage goals. Yeah. We said, what do we want to do to work and grow on our marriage? Because something that we're really passionate about is that we know having a healthy marriage does not come naturally, right? Having healthy relationships are never by accident. And we know that even though we've studied, we're marriage coaches, we're pastors, we've never arrived.
No.
Like we are so human still. So we said, hey, what books do we want to read about marriage this year? Is there a conference we want to go to? Like how do we work on us this year?
Like maybe one of your goals for marriage is to listen to this show with your spouse once a week.
It's a great goal.
Very, very easy and attainable goal. But we had marriage goals. We had fun, spiritual goals. Yep. We started talking about
house projects.
What do we want to do with our house? And so we just kind of listed all these categories off. And what it did is it created unity in our marriage because we started with the spiritual side. We're going to connect with the Lord. Good. And then it kind of goes out into these other areas. So if you're lacking unity in your marriage, I would say find out where the hole is.
The leak is,
Where the leak is. Like, are you not on the same page financially? Are you not on the same page with how much fun? We wanted to have one date night a week, every Friday night. It's date night. And so are you dating? Are you connecting with each other? What are some of those things? And I think if you sat down for 1 hour, 30 minutes even, over a cup of coffee.
And I will say, you can do this. And I will say, if one of you is more excited about that and one of you is more hesitant, because I think because I'm the planner and you're not, we found ourselves there before.
Yeah, I put it off. You were asking me to do this for probably 20 years.
And honestly, I think in my mind, I'm like, we're creating a vision board. Like we're going away. We're going to fast over this thing. Make it smaller, right? Yeah. Like make it doable and make it friendly for both of you. Meet each other halfway.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I would also say with that is just start using we language.
That's good.
Instead of I. We.
Yes.
We're going out. What are we doing this weekend? What are some things we want to do together? And if you start to change that, you'll have some of the healthy individual things and some of the not so healthy will go away. So now it's time
for one of your favorite segments and ours, Spill the Beans. Oh, there we go.
Spill the beans. Time for me to spill the beans on how I failed miserably.
This is why this is your favorite segment.
We failed miserably at this early in our marriage because I was a youth pastor,
Yes.
young youth pastor, and we started the day we got back from our honeymoon.
Legit. The day
I
we got
started
back.
a full-time job as a youth pastor, and Megan had a full-time job in mortgages.
I did. It was
the
not what
time.
I wanted to do, but it's what I needed to do financially for our family at that time. Because I don't know if you know this, but youth pastors don't make all the dollars.
They don't make all that much money. But so we were working hard, but I was so into my job and so into my career that I was like every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hey, we're going out and spending time with teenagers. We're going to their football games. We're going to their band recitals. We're going to their dance recitals. And so date night became, hey, Meg, let's go to sit in the stands and watch some teenagers play football.
Right.
That weren't our own.
And I got to say, I have always felt called to ministry too, and I love it so much. But I think in that season, it got so out of balance that we lost our connection.
We were out 4 or 5 nights a week doing ministry. We were running all around and
saying yes to everything without boundaries.
and literally we had just got married.
Yeah.
So like we're still trying to figure out how to live together
Yes.
and how to create a life together, but we're running all over the place. Then we bought a dog 6 weeks into our marriage.
we
so
did.
now we have a dog. We got these new ministries.
And we had a house. We didn't have an apartment. So we were like taking care of all the house. We had a house that was like 50 years old at that time.
Yeah,
so we're
so
taking
do-
care of all the house things. Yeah.
And so what happened is, and she's keeping up. Like she's working this full-time job, but still keeping up with me.
Oh.
And I could adjust my schedule. Like, hey, if I'm going to be out in the evening, I can come home during the day a little bit. She couldn't. So she's working. And so one day we're like, we just feel really disconnected.
Yeah. And it was coming out. Like I was getting snarky with you. I think you were like pulling away from me and not even realizing it, just kind of going into your own world and doing your thing and putting your head down. And we felt it.
We felt it together. So we had to regroup and we fell in this area and we started to get more individualistic in our marriage. I remember there was a season where after dinner, I went in a room and you were hung out in a different room for a little bit and we did our separate things and it got just to get a little alone time and just to kind of get some time to ourselves.
Yeah.
And some of that's okay, but we really started to go into roommate mode.
I don't remember us dating like hardly at all in those first couple of years.
A football game, high school
High school
football
game.
high school musical.
Does that count?
Was not a date for you?
We went on spring break with like 12 teenagers. That might have been our vacation.
Yeah, as married, and you room with the girls and I room with the guys for
That was
10
not
days.
a vacation.
So we
But
kind
we
of
love you guys if you're watching.
Yeah, it was totally worth
It was
it.
a blast.
We figured it out
We figured it out,
eventually, but it can happen, and so we really want to make sure make practical ways to not get too spread out, but bring that unity into
Absolutely.
our marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So now it's time for the espresso round. This is where we answer your questions, the questions that you guys have asked us either in the comments or send them to us via instant message on our social media channels. Meg, what do we got? What's the first question?
Okay, Chris Ria. So the first one that came in was, how do we balance personal dreams and shared goals?
That's really good. And that's something we kind of hit on
Yep.
earlier is, yes, have the personal goals or the personal dreams. I think what you want to do is you constantly want to work on you. You're reading for yourself, you're dreaming for yourself, but then you have this day of the year or once a week or once a month check-in between the two of you that just say, where are we at as a couple?
Yeah.
What's our goal for the year?
Yeah.
What's our goal for the month? What's our goal for the week?
Right.
What are we doing to maintain that unity? But you have your own personal relationship time with God so that you become that man and woman of God, and that goes on.
Yeah, and I think that those two things, they need to coincide, right? Like within a marriage relationship, you're going to have seasons. Like if Chris is like, I really want to go back to school, right? If you wanted to do that.
Which will never happen.
Right. Hypothetically speaking. But that would mean our family has to adjust a little bit to that goal, right? If you know you're going to be out, then okay, how do we for a season say, I want to support you in that? And that fits in the bigger picture of our marriage of you growing, right? So how do we have those individual goals, but say, yeah, good luck with that. No, I'm in with you for this, but it's for a season and in time that'll reciprocate too.
No, that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, this question's for you.
Bring it on.
What if my spouse isn't interested in praying or planning?
Ooh.
Together or individually?
That's
tricky.
It's tricky.
That makes it trickier when one spouse isn't. But what you can do, you answer. No. I'm sorry. You go. I asked the
Jabba.
I asked you the question, and then I jumped in for the answer.
It's cool, man. It's cool. What I would say is if one of you is really on board and the other one is hesitant, you got to start with asking why. Why are they hesitant to do that? Maybe one, we found spiritually connecting, there can be an insecurity there. It can also be like maybe one of you has really super hyper vigilant about some things, and maybe it's not always the safest place for your spouse to enter into, right? So start with why, and then make it smaller.
Yes.
I think so many times we create these lofty things, but if we start small, say like praying together, praying together. Let's just take one incident. Maybe don't start with every day for 30 minutes. Right? Maybe you say, hey, would you mind praying with me before bed for 5 minutes one day a week?
Start the day.
End the day. Or maybe, hey, would you be the one that prays over the meals as a family, right?
It could be like that. And I also think, you can't control that person.
Correct.
You can only control you. And guys especially, when we feel nagged, we don't really want to do anything. And so what I would do, if your spouse doesn't really want to pray or plan, I would just ask them in a very safe and humbled way, hey, I wish we had more time to plan our lives together. I wish we had more time to pray. It doesn't have to be every day, even once a week.
Yeah.
How could we make that happen as a couple?
What you just did there was disarm.
Right.
You didn't come at me and say, you're never, I'm so sick of this. You're not like this person. You're not like that person. No, you made it about you and invited them in to be a part.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, espresso round. We got to answer these questions a little faster. Here we go.
More coffee.
This says, we're so different. Can unity really happen?
Oh my goodness. Can we relate to that? Absolutely. Unity can happen.
Sure.
Yes. I think that's the mystery of God, right? Like he created this whole world. There's such diversity in this world, but when when our hearts are focused on him, what I've found is that your differences and especially over time, they can truly complement each other.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
They can divide you, they can bring you farther apart, but just know that mental flip of going, this doesn't have to divide us. This can actually be the thing that brings us together because there's a balance there.
I agree 100%. And our differences have brought unity to our marriage. There are times, and you can see this with a spouse who wants to be around people more extroverted versus introverted. Well, the extrovert's going to draw the introvert halfway, and the introvert's going to draw the extrovert halfway. And before you know it, you guys are creating unity, getting on the same page. You got a planner and a spontaneous person. Well, eventually you have some spontaneity and you have some planning. You have a risk taker and a person who plays it safe. Great. You're going to take some risks and you're going to be glad you did, and you're going to play it safe sometimes and be glad you did. So I
balance
definitely
each other
think
out
you can have
beautifully.
unity.
Okay, let me ask you this last one, Chris.
Okay.
How do we avoid drifting apart when life gets busy? We talked a little bit about our yearly check-in, but like on the regular, what would you say when life is just busy and we get this so much? How do you keep from drifting apart?
Well, I think this is very important. This is a statement. We say we don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time. What you're really saying is I'm not going to prioritize.
Come on. Yes,
because
that's it.
We make time for things that are a priority. You make time to go to work. You make time to sleep. You make time to eat. You make time to drive your kids around.
Yeah.
You make time for the things in your life you feel are a priority. Make the time.
Yeah.
We are going to check in for 30 minutes on Tuesday night from 8 to 8:30, like on our marriage.
Put it on the calendar.
We are going to talk that day about how we're doing and what our dreams and goals for the week are, and we're going to check in for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You got to put it on the calendar.
Yep.
You put these things on the calendar. Megan and I have a monthly business meeting on the calendar every month before we get paid for the next month. And we talk about the upcoming month and the expenses and the business part of our relationship. Make time. because we say it all the time, healthy relationships are never an accident.
Right.
You talk to someone who has a healthy relationship.
They've invested a lot into that relationship.
They absolutely have. Okay. Last but not least, Meg, one last thought. We're going to brew on this for the entire week, so it's got to be good. Give us a takeaway from this.
Guys, as you reflect on this, what we've been talking about not losing yourself, right? Healthy individualism and unity within your marriage. Unity in your marriage, like I said, it's not about losing yourself. It's about bringing your whole self and your partner's whole self to the table and the two becoming one.
Yes.
All your uniqueness, all their uniqueness bundled together and becoming better together than you ever could apart because of that balance there.
Yes, and just to add one thing to that, I would say, you become a man of God, husbands.
Yes.
Wives become a woman of God. You will create unity in your marriage. So that's all we have for you today. We'd love for you to leave a comment below. What is a way that you build unity with your spouse?
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a comment below. If you want to share this video, I'm sure there's some other couples that could use it as well. So have a great day, everyone. And remember, life and love are way too important to live on autopilot.
See you next time. Bye, guys.